It's hard to believe that 21 years ago, I started on a path of feeding a natural raw meat diet to, at that time, my dog and my cat. But the real journey for me actually started a lot longer ago, back to about 1983, when my childhood dog, Heidi, came down with Cushing's disease. And ultimately that led to her death. She had quite severe Cushing's disease and was many times doing the splits on all four legs and had no energy, no control. And you know, as a young boy, when I lost my childhood dog, it hit me hard. And I don't know why, but for some reason, at 13 years of age, I knew that the diet that myself and my family were feeding my childhood dog was the cause of her health problems. I don't know how or why, because it just, one of those things that just came to me. And so that was 1983. And then in 1993, my family got another dog, a miniature schnauzer named Katie. And when we got Katie, remembering my loss of Heidi, for some reason, I went on this path, this journey. I started looking for better alternatives, better ways of feeding this new puppy. And back then, there was no internet. There was, but not like it is today. And so I began investigating in the back of magazines. I was looking through the classifieds. I was going to bookstores, wherever I could, however I could. I was looking for information. And at first, I fed what I thought was a better diet. It was a holistic, dry kibble diet, because it didn't have the preservatives, and you know that at the time that's all that I knew. And so for the first year, that's what I basically fed Katie. But I still knew that wasn't what I was looking for. I knew there was more. Something inside me was just telling me, keep looking. And one day I walked into this health food store, and the lady who owned it, I just started talking to her, and I don't know how we got on to the topic, but I mentioned somehow about dogs and cats and holistic health, and she showed me this book by Pat McKay called Raining Cats and Dogs, and it's like, whoa, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And so I began this journey of feeding a raw meat diet. It just made sense, because with my pets before as a child, every now and then we would feed them some raw egg, and my cats were hunters and they'd grow up catching their own food. So in 1994, I began to feed a natural raw meat diet, and I fed it to Katie, who was a puppy at the time, or at that time about one, and my cat, who at the time was about 15 and a half years old, and he could no longer walk up the stairs, he could no longer jump. It looked like he was getting ready to go. And I can remember I gave my cat a raw meat diet, and about 4 to 6 weeks later, I see him at the bottom of the stairs, and I go to pick him up, and instead he just runs up the stairs as quick as he could. I was like, whoa, what is going on here? And also too, later, because that was about October or maybe November, and come springtime, when my cat was going outside, and I'd put him into the backyard, because if I put him into the front yard, I thought maybe he might get hurt by a car, or maybe another cat. It was just safe for him to be in the backyard. But for some reason, I put him into the backyard, and for some reason, he would be in the front yard. And I couldn't figure out how he was getting there. The gate was closed, everything was locked up. And then I realized this cat, who no longer could walk up the stairs, now was running up the stairs, plus he was jumping the fence to get to the front yard because that's where the sun was. He wanted to be in the sun. So it was through that experience, through my cat, that I really discovered the power of wholesome nutrition. It was my dog, my puppy, that got me searching for the answer, but it was my cat who really showed me the power of wholesome nutrition. Because here he was eating a commercial diet, I put him onto a raw meat diet, and boom, he becomes a kitten again. And that's when I started telling people that a natural raw meat diet will bring out the puppy in your dog and the kitten in your cat. It's because this is what I observed from my cat. Here is my cat. Now all of a sudden, he's playing with string, playing with the puppy, and we had now another puppy too, Tammy. So we had 2 dogs and my older cat. And my older cat is now playing with 2 dogs again. It was unbelievable. So that's my experience. My experience started off with my childhood dog getting Cushing's disease, and me questioning and wondering what impact does diet have on their health. And that seed that was planted in 1983, it then germinated in 1993 and into 1994. All of us who get onto the path of feeding a natural raw meat diet, we all have an experience, something that stimulates us, something that gets us thinking, something that leads us to looking for something better, looking for a natural diet. And for me, like I said, that started when I was a child, 13 years old. But the question is, what's your experience? What has happened that has brought you along this path to make you think of what you can do better for your dog or for your cat? For me, the reality is that diet is always the foundation of health. And that's why I travel from commercial pet food to a holistic pet food to the natural raw meat diet. So, what's your path? What's your experience? What's made you come to this realization? Question for you to think about yourself.